Hi guys, welcome to the Fight-ish channel. Former UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov spoke about the WBC World Heavyweight Champion British boxer Tyson Fury, and also assessed his chances in a duel with mixed martial arts fighter Francis Ngannou. Fury is the best right now. I think he is on a different level among boxers. If they fight in MMA, of course Ngannou will have a good chance, but in boxing, I don't see anyone even touching his face. Maybe only Alexander Usyk. Usyk will be a difficult test for Fury, Nurmagomedov said. The next opponent of the WBA, WBO, IBF and IBO World Heavyweight Champion Alexander Usyk may be the WBC title holder Tyson Fury. According to media reports, this will happen if Joshua refuses a mandatory rematch. According to media reports, this will happen if Joshua refuses a mandatory rematch with the Ukrainian in exchange for compensation in the amount of $15 million. The fact of negotiations was confirmed by Fury's promoter, while Joshua assured that he had not yet agreed to the terms offered to him. Everything he stood for out of the ring is special. Anthony Joshua reveals his sporting hero. AJ has named who he considers to be his sporting hero. AJ recently did an interview with William Hill to discuss a variety of topics. One question that came up surrounded who the former two-time heavyweight title holder considers to be his idol in the world of sport. Joshua named Muhammad Ali as his main inspiration. AJ explained how what Ali did outside the ring was just as important as what he did inside it. Muhammad Ali, everything he stood for out of the ring is special. It takes so much energy to be as great as he was in the ring, but also everything he did out of the ring. He was a very energetic and special man. Joshua's analysis of Ali is spot on. The former three-time heavyweight world champion was dubbed the greatest, not only for his achievements inside the squared circle. He became well known for his activism outside of the ring. Ali notably lost years of his career and was stripped of his heavyweight titles due to his refusal to be drafted into the Vietnam War. Anthony Joshua is set to face Alexander Usyk later this year. AJ has been absent from the ring since September 2021. AJ last faced Alexander Usyk and lost the bout via a lopsided unanimous decision. Joshua was expected to defeat the former cruiserweight champion, having entered the bout as a sizable favorite. However, Usyk thoroughly outboxed the then WBA, IBF, WBO and IBO heavyweight champion and rode to a decision victory. Following the fight, the former Englishman activated his rematch clause to face the Ukrainian again. However, discussions began for Joshua to potentially step aside for a possible Tyson Fury vs Alexander Usyk matchup instead. The conversation began after AJ left his trainer Rob McCracken and started the hunt for a new coach. A step-aside deal seemed likely, but the proposed deal fell apart in the final stages of negotiations. As a result, Anthony Joshua is now set to face Alexander Usyk once again, while there is no date or venue set for the rematch. AJ will have the chance to make history like his idol Muhammad Ali. Friends, before starting to watch this video, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. If you really enjoyed the content, then please subscribe to my channel and keep watching the videos. If you are subscribed, then you receive notifications about the release of new videos. You do not even have to look for anything personally. I really want to get 10,000 subscribers on my channel. I am trying very hard, absolutely every day, and I need your support. Your likes, comments, reposts to social networks. Thanks to everyone who subscribes to my channel. You are my support. Thank you so much. Eddie here, hopeful that Alexander Usyk vs Anthony Joshua's second fight can be held in the United Kingdom. AJ is hoping to gain revenge over Alexander Usyk this year. Eddie Hearn wants to stage the urgently anticipated rematch between Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua in Britain. The heavyweight pair are set to meet for a second time in 2022, following their initial meeting last year. And with multiple locations rumored to stage the bout, Hearn has shown a desire for it to take place in Joshua's backyard. Last September, Usyk performed brilliantly as he demonstrated his full repertoire to outpoint AJ after 12 rounds. A number of options have been discussed for both fighters since the first fight with Tyson Fury had been linked to a battle with Usyk, but it now appears that the Ukrainian will once again take on Joshua. It's clear AJ will be fighting Usyk, which is his preferred choice. Said Hearn when speaking to the 5 Live podcast. There is the United Kingdom, America, the Middle East. We've had offers all around the world for that fight. I would like to do it in the United Kingdom, and we will see, said Eddie Hearn. Alexander Usyk was more accurate, faster, more specific and more diverse in the first fight. It deserved both a victory and a pack of respect, including from Klitschko for his spectacular style. If there were questions in places in the first 8 rounds, then the Ukrainian took the last 3 minutes uncoordinationally. Now I want to see Usyk's fight with Tyson Fury. It seems the only one who is ready to compete with Sasha in terms of originality. But it is already clear that Anthony Joshua's elite career is over. After the victory over Klitschko, there were hopes that the discipline at Britain will dominate the entire heavyweight for a long time. Unfortunately, the Hornet combinations hit academicism and a complete lack of imagination. First, Fat Ruiz proved it, and then he also confirmed that Joshua was overrated. The rematch was boring and unconvincing. Now Anthony has probably dropped out of the world's top 3 heavyweights. Do you feel sorry for the Briton? Not a drop. He was too cautious in the opening, did not take risks in the late rounds, and frankly looked pathetic in the last minute and a half. Yes, in theory, Joshua is more powerful than Usyk and should manage his dimensions better. Alexander picked up for the sake of the fight. There could be discomfort, but these trumps turn out to be only an illusion. Therefore, the career of the Briton now consists of 4 highlights: Olympic gold, victory over Klitschko, a loss from a Fat Ruiz, and distraction from Usyk. Globally, you can live. The money has already been earned. Of course, from the point of view of reputation, Joshua's refusal to fight with Usyk may be negatively perceived by his fans. In September, the Ukrainian outplayed his opponent and demonstrated that he had not only gaps in boxing technique, but also mental problems. During the fight, Anthony looked lost and did not even try to seize the initiative, which looked strange considering his size. As a result, the Briton conceded by unanimous judicial decision. And although Joshua stated in an interview with Staff that he was extremely motivated on the eve of the rematch and intended to regain his lost trophies, his readiness for a return duel with Usyk raises questions. A few months is clearly not enough to not only recover from such a weak wild defeat, but also to prepare for the match. But Joshua needs not only to pick up the keys and adapt to the extremely uncomfortable style of Usyk for him, but also to become again the fearless fighter he was before the first meeting with Andy Ruiz. The heavy knockout broke the Briton and forced him to act much more carefully, focusing on working from a distance and trying to outbox rivals. However, in the battle with the Ukrainian, such a plan was doomed to failure. Perhaps it will be beneficial for Joshua to either take a short break from his performances and focus on training or fight a less powerful opponent. For example, the same White who risked being left without a fight. Undoubtedly, a duel with Dillian will not be an easy walk for Anthony, but it certainly promises to be not as discouraging as a rematch with Alexander Usyk. As for the possible confrontation between Usyk and Fury, it promises to become one of the largest not only in 2022, but also over the past 10 years. The heavyweight division has always been considered the most prestigious, and the fight for the status of the absolute champion is destined to become one of the most anticipated and discussed. At least for the reason that the last time it was possible to combine belts in all major versions was in 2000. However, then it was enough for Lewis to collect the WBA, WBC and IBF trophies. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel.